Well, let me ask you a question. At what point, let's say I just got into an injury, someone backed into me or somebody sideswiped me or something like that, and I'm hurting. At what point should I, do you think that you should always see a doctor every time you're injured, every time you're in an accident? Should you always see a doctor? Should you wait for some symptoms? Or at what point do you think that triggers me to see, or someone to see a doctor? And then at what point do you think that that should manifest itself into talking to an attorney?
That's a great question, and I get this a lot with people who get into a crash. The first day they're not feeling too much pain, and they try and tough it out. And it would be hypocritical of me to criticize anybody who does that, because I come from a long line of people, my entire family. None of us run to the doctor as a first resort, and that's pretty cool. Except, let's take the law and the injury claim out of it. Let's just talk about your body and your health and your life. We live in an era here where medicine is fantastic. And whether we're talking about injuries from a car crash or a fall down, or whether we're talking about a disease like cancer or Parkinson's, there's not a single medical problem that a person has out there these days that is not results in a better the earlier you get medical intervention. In other words, the earlier they catch cancer, the more likely they are to cure you. The earlier you see a doctor when you start having pain, the shorter period of time you're likely to have pain, and the earlier they'll know what's going on and what the appropriate medical care is. So, I'm going to take off my lawyer hat for a minute and put on my human being hat, although I don't know why it should be two separate hats. But I think people today owe it to themselves that if they're feeling pain after an injury, you only get one spin on the wheel here. Hurt, at a minimum, get into a hospital and get checked out. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with the human body that seem minor. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine about this. The symptoms of a serious permanent back injury are almost identical early on to a temporary back injury. So the pain you're feeling, the symptoms you're feeling in the days following a car crash, you can't yourself interpret what those symptoms and what that pain is. Only a doctor can do that. So just because you're not hurting too bad doesn't mean you shouldn't see a doctor. But if God forbid you're hurt in a more serious permanent way and you end up having to go into litigation and filing a lawsuit, insurance companies love it when people delay getting medical treatment, because in every case there's a gap in treatment. It's what lawyers call a treatment gap. In every case where there's a treatment gap, the insurance company lawyer always argues to the jury, if we let them get away with it, if the trial judge lets them get away with it, they will always argue, well, hey, if this person got into a car crash and they were injured, why didn't they go to a doctor right away? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? If you get hurt, you see a doctor. But, Mr. Smith waited 10 days before he saw a doctor. And then he waited another month after that to see a doctor again. We don't know what happened in that gap. So injury lawyers are very careful about it. And unfortunately, even though it is the most natural thing in the world for people to do to delay getting medical care, when you're sitting on a jury for some reason, jurors buy that argument. They lend that argument credence and say, hey, if it was me, I would have went to the doctor right away. So there's something fishy going on here. We really live in a day of skepticism of injury cases. And, I can understand if there's a bad case that doesn't deserve compensation. But what the insurance industry is doing in a lot of these cases is taking natural human skepticism and attempting to paint all injury cases with that brush. So I'm really proving myself to be the typical lawyer by using 1,000 words when 10 could probably suffice. But, whether it's your health or whether it's for purposes of making a claim or a lawsuit, getting in to see a doctor right away is absolutely essential. Also, to the last part of your question, lawyers offer free consultations, and, I offer a free consultation either by telephone or in person, or whatever anybody wants to do. I'm happy to answer questions, and the consultation is free at no obligation. So, I talk to people all the time, and we don't proceed on a case and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to answer people's questions, but obviously, I trust people's instinct, and when a person feels like the insurance company they're dealing with is starting to get a little shifty, people's instincts about that is usually very good. It means the insurance company is about to deny your claim, cut off your benefits. So, it costs you nothing but a phone call and some time to talk to a lawyer like me who can answer your questions and give you a read about the case and what you have to prove. So it costs you nothing and it can benefit you. It's probably a good idea to talk to a lawyer if you have any concerns.
Thanks, Scott.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. Or if you'd like to see more of my videos, click subscribe. Thanks again.
If you've been hurt, insurance treating you mean, call 888-HURT-318.